When I was young, I received this teaching that changed the way I think about myself, about everything that I experience. And the teaching goes like this: don't look at the kite, look at the one who's flying the kite. Don't look at the kite. Learn how to look at the one who's flying the kite. That answers a lot of things. We always look at the kite. We always look at this mysterious, spontaneous, magical, dazzling display that we perceive through our senses. And we look at them, but we never look at the looker. I used to fly kites when I was young. 1992, after I was enthroned, brought to Himachal from Ladakh. I used to fly kite with my attendant who was here with me right now, my childhood friend. We used to fly lots of kites. And I know what it means when I hear the teaching. Don't look at the kite, look at the one who's flying the kite. I will start with a supplication to my gurus, past, present, future, external, internal, and secret. And this supplication is what we call Manam Jikor supplication. It is beautiful, and according to traditions, they chant the supplication differently. In Ladakh, we sing our chantings, we sing our prayers, and it's beautiful. So I would just like you to fold your hands, rest your mind in its nature, and just listen to this song of supplication to the gurus. Manam gadanyam besem jandam jet lama sangya chusgis gola solvan dev soy manam gadanyam besem shantam jet Lama lo cho zos bez gola solvan de so manam kadanyam besem shantam jet Lama to je tul bez gola solvan de so manam Kadanyam besem shandam jet Lama sangya jimbo chela Sovande so manam Kadanyam besem shandam jet Lama sangya chusgis gola Solvande so manam kadanyam besem shantam jet Lama lo cho dos bez gola solvande so manam kadanyam besem shantam jet Lama tok je tu bez gola solvande so manam kadanyam besem shantam je Lama sangya jimbo chela solvande so manam Kadanyam besem shantam jet Lama sangya chusgis gola solvande so manam kadanyam besem shantam jet Lama lo sho jos be skola solvande so manam kadanyam be samshantam je Lama to je to be skola solvande so manam Kadanyam besem shantam jen Lama sanje Rinpoche la Zovande so Daso simje dam jigilo Jizan dovar sinje labdozo Jilam don dovar sinje labdozo Lam drupa ziva sinje labdozo Drupa ishizan jiva sinje labdozo Zare lama jiva dan jiva namla jibzan jiva Jiro jinzi dan jiva namla jibzan jiva Nu jinji denpa dal lame zola jibzan jiva Juji simje hadal lame zola jibzan jiva Nazi bolde lame zola jibzan jiva Dobe da drupa sinje labdozo Tuji jen drupa sinje labdozo Tende tablan keba sinje labdozo Jelsi tentang dobar sinje labdozo Saja jimon Chokyong uru tsen tingil dobar sinje labdozo Shiyo men juji yinje bojang ne Tizum sanje kunje ngo nye Rangsim chukong uzun tunze ba Zawe lame shabla kui chan Tsal Sangye tamjin dupe go Dorji zimbe ngo nye Kunchu sumge zawa de Lama namla chan tsa Lo dorjin chanchin dele naro dam Marba mila gampon taza ba Nabo badam palden dobaso Kargyo lama namla chan tsa Lo lada lame jubenje Shabje pema lado de Pongpa kunle dunze ma Doma yimla chan tsa Lo Gyagar benjin pila garinje Pema june skolan den chongme Tata lunup shimbeka Orgin Rinpoche la solvande Lai gidalo dano zinge Chubum dadami genam dan Jova kunji danam chizambar Tamche gido dagi chiden to Thank you. A few days ago, while we were conducting the prayer for the late very venerable Lama Wangdo Rinpoche, who was one of my highly respected teacher, to whom I'll be forever grateful for everything that he taught me. While I was conducting those prayers, Venerable Lama Lina approached me and she asked me if I could speak about the Dhamma to some of the students who will be coming from the West and from other countries. I reluctantly agreed because I'm young in age, not experienced. I don't consider myself a great Dzogchen Mahamudra master at all. I'm someone who's on the path. I have more highly accomplished, realized masters sitting at my either side. But since I've been stamped with the stamp of a Tulku, Rinpoche, Lama Lina, with great respect and great love, whom I consider to be my Dharma auntie, who has been with me since I was very young, who has mentored me, who has supported me. I could not refuse her. So here I am today among all of you in this holy place, the place that is auspicious, where Guru Padmasambhava came from Odiyana. He met the beautiful princess Mandurava, whom we should speak more of, but unfortunately, people seem to speak less of. They always seem to focus more on Guru Rinpoche and the males, but they never look at the amazing female practitioners, female gurus. Anyway, so Guru Rinpoche met Mandurava at this beautiful place. They practiced together. Mandurava's father was a king. She was a princess. He wasn't happy when a shepherd told him, reported him, that his beautiful daughter, a princess, is being sullied by this wandering beggar in this dark, dank, damp cave. The king got angry. He came here. He went to the caves. There were no roads. He dragged Guru Rinpoche on a chariot all the way to Pema, where the lake is right now. He burnt him. He couldn't burn him. Then he warned his soldiers, I'm going back to Mandi. I'm going back to my palace. He better be burnt when I come back. And the soldiers, the captains, the generals, they approached Guru Rinpoche, and with great respect, with great devotion, they asked Guru Rinpoche to be burnt. Otherwise they would be killed by the king. And Guru Rinpoche, who's formless, who's beyond time, who is timeless, who is beyond everything. And he said, okay, no problem. You can burn me. So then they burnt him. And the smoke hovered for more than a week. It's written in the scriptures, in the histories. The smoke hovered for more than a week. When it cleared, there was this beautiful lake. On it was this beautiful lotus. He was born in Lake Danakosha, which is disputed. Some people say it's in the Swat Valley, present-day Pakistan. Some people say it's in the state of Odisha, Indian state in the south. But either way, he was born in this place called Hinayana, magically born. 4 forms of birth in Buddhism. Through the womb, like us, like mammals. Eggs, like insects and reptiles. And heat, like bacteria, germs, worms. Well, I don't know how germs are born, but I would say bacteria and flies and mosquitoes and all that. Through heat. And then the last one is magic, magically born. So we call Guru Rinpoche the magically born second Buddha. He was born from the rays of Buddha Amitabha. Of the 5 Buddhas that we assign to the 5 directions, Buddha Amitabha is the Buddha of the West. His family is of lotus family. His quality is that of utter brilliance, limitless light. So we call him Amitabha. Yobame means limitless light. He was born from the rays that emanated from his heart and which hit Lake Danakosha. And Guru Rinpoche was born on top of a lotus as an 8-year-old child. He kept, if you look at his biography, he was born multiple times at different places on a lotus. That is why we call him the lotus-born Guru. So in Lake Pema, again he was born. He emerged with Lady Mandarava, magically. But then, again, the physical Mandarava was trapped in a cave in Mandi. But there was this another Mandarava. So sometimes you think, how many Mandaravas are there? How many Guru Rinpoches are there? And Guru Rinpoche himself said, out of 9,999 biographies, Pema Kathang, the one that we know of, is just one. Out of all my emanations, the one with the mustache, the one who's holding the trident, the one who's sitting so majestically with his legs stretched, almost extended, with shoes on a throne. Who dares to do that? I call him the shoe-wearing Guru. Even Buddha Shakyamuni is seated barefoot. Even Manjushri, the manifestation of Buddha's wisdom, manifestation of the wisdom of enlightenment. You know, if enlightenment had a shape in form of a wisdom, it would look like Manjushri. If enlightenment had a human form, in the shape of, like, if enlightenment's compassion had a human form, it would be like Avalokiteshvara. If enlightenment's power had a human form, it will be like Vajrapani. But they're also barefoot. So who's this guy? With a hat, with shoes. There is this beautiful story in Tibet of this business lady in Lhasa. Somebody asked her to do some offerings to Guru Rinpoche. And she said, no, I'm not going to make offerings. I'm not going to pray to a guru who sits on a throne with his shoes on. So that's how the joke stuck in my head. Anyway, So here we are at this auspicious place where all these miraculous, beautiful things took place. He's no longer with us physically, but his legend still lives on. Among this beautiful Sangha from different parts of the world, and we are going to discuss the Dharma today. I will discuss Hinayana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. When Lama Lina and I spoke a few days ago about today's event, I asked her, what kind of students will be there? Trained, novices? She said, well, most of them will be very developed in the spiritual path. But there could be some newcomers to Tibetan Buddhism or Vajrayana Buddhism. So I was wondering, what could I teach? What could I talk? What notes should I make? What scriptures, from which scriptures should I take the transmissions out of, the poems? And I just threw my books away. I threw my notes away. No, I'm going to speak spontaneously. No notes, nothing. Yeah? I'm speaking from my mind. I'm speaking from my experience. I'm speaking from the limited knowledge that I have. I will start with a small introduction of myself, so you will know who I am. My name is Palga Rinpoche. I belong to the Dzigar monastery lineage of the Drukpa Kagyu sect. I was born in Ladakh. I am the 8th reincarnation. I was born in Ladakh. At the age of 1.5, 2, my root guru, Gyalwang Drukpa, who is the lineage holder of the Drukpa Kagyu sect, he recognized me as a Tulku. But since I was too young, my mother hesitated to give me away. So she kept me until I was 8. 1992, during the holy occasion of the Naropa ceremony, which takes place once every 12 years in Ladakh, he enthroned me, and then I was brought to Pema. I spent 1 year in the caves. I spent almost 1 year in Bir, and then in Pema I spent about 8 to 9 challenging years. After that, I went to study Buddhist philosophy in Zongsar Institute, which is present-day Deer Park, with many eminent abbots, and also received teachings from Zongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, whom I find very inspiring, his teachings, his modern ways of thinking and doing things. And after that, I went to England. I was a teenager. I was in my late teens. I went to England. I stayed there for a couple of years. I came back. I went to Canada. I stayed there for a couple of months. Came back. I did some retreat for a few years. Got instructions from Wangdru Rinpoche. Got instructions from some of the lamas. I practiced Dzogchen, Mahamudra. Then again I traveled to the West. I lived in Europe for a few years. Presently, I'm in Ladakh. I am trying to help my fellow people, both the grown-ups as well as the children. I'm sharing this story because sometimes when people see a Rinpoche or a Tulku, they assume that just because we are born into the Dharma, they assume just because we appear like Superman with a cape, they assume that our life has been perfect, that we don't have a kryptonite. I had a lot of kryptonites. I had a challenging life. When I was young, the training of a Tulku is quite challenging. You get, I won't say locked up, which is quite extreme, I would say confined in a good room, a comfortable room, and you're made to memorize, you're made to practice, you're made to meditate, you're made to sit cross-legged for 24 hours. You're not allowed to go out and play, you're not allowed to read comic books, you're not allowed to watch cartoons. You're just made to practice and meditate 24 hours, almost, except for sleeping and meals. So it was a challenging time in my life, and you get corporal punishment. Yeah, so the ancient Tibetan way of teaching is with corporal punishment. So I got a lot of corporal punishment. I'm just trying to be politically correct with my words. So it was challenging. I used to cry so much. I used to get beaten every day, almost every day. One day when I wouldn't get beaten, I would sleep in the evening, and I would think, like, what a beautiful day, I didn't get beaten. For me, it was the absence of suffering. That was my happiness. For others, it is the presence of wealth, presence of houses, accommodation, and transportation, and companion. That is their source of happiness. For me, it was merely the alleviation of suffering, absence of suffering. That was happiness for me. So it was challenging, and I used to think, why me? I'm supposed to be a highborn, if you want to use that kind of language. I'm supposed to be a reincarnation of I'm supposed to be the 8th reincarnation of a guru, subsequent reincarnation in a human form. I'm supposedly free from samsara. I chose to be reborn to help sentient beings, to guide people, to guide all beings. So why am I suffering? Well, I didn't know the concept of karma back then. What about all the bad deeds that I may have accumulated before my first reincarnation? Those deeds that had not yet ripened. So I got into depression and anxiety. When my teacher would walk up to me, I would feel my whole body tense up. My hand would start shaking. What limited memorization that I had done during the day, I would forget immediately when he took the page from me and said, read it to me now. So I went through a lot of challenges. Depression, anxiety, loneliness, 8-year-old, and that's quite difficult. I'm sharing these things with you so that you know a little bit more about me, so that you will understand as a human how I face challenges, how I overcame them, and right now, how I am a stronger person because of those experiences. Because we all have similar problems in our lives, or if we have had. Then I went to England. When I went to England, people were bemused. They were like, why are you going abroad? You should be in meditation, you should be in a cave, you should be reading scriptures. What are you going to do there? I said, well, I'm going to gain experience. I want to live like a normal person. I won't have any of these luxuries. I can't just snap my finger and somebody brings me a glass of hot water. I will be self-dependent. I will understand the value of money, time, companionship, everything. So I lived like a normal person. I worked, I did menial jobs. I worked in the kitchen, I chopped vegetables. I chopped my finger many times, sometimes more than the vegetables. Yeah, it was great. I met people at a humane level. Here, when I was young, sitting on a throne, people would always be very reverent, full of respect. They would almost put on this beautiful mask. But there, I didn't have any mask. I couldn't put on a mask. They would strip the mask off. I was naked. I was exposed. But I gained so many invaluable lessons, which cannot be taught in a text, which cannot be taught verbally. You have to experience it. We all want to be happy, right? We all want to be happy. Us humans, them animals, these people, everything else, like the whole universe wants to be happy, doesn't want suffering. That is why we are here, aren't we? That is why we get out of our bed. That is why we open a door. That is why we put on clothes. We are running after happiness. I also ran after happiness. When I was young, my happiness was comic books. Tintin, Asterix from Europe. Archie comics from Batman, Superman, Spider-Man from America. Those were my source of happiness. Some games, some soccer, some cricket, some hide and seek. Those were my happiness. And I used to run after them. When I became a teenager, my source of happiness changed, evolved. I went after different things. Now that I'm older, my understanding of happiness has changed slightly because of the teachings that I received, because of the experiences that I gained in meditation and retreat. We get stuck sometimes because what we want is contrary to how we achieve it. We want something else, but we get something else because we do the opposite. I've met many practitioners, for example, who go into 3-year retreat, 6-year retreats. When they enter, they're good human beings. When they exit, they become so arrogant. They become worse. Really, they get worse actually. They're supposed to get enlightened, right? 3 years and 3 months. There's a certain cycle of breathing. And if you control it with visualization and mantras properly, with your prana, bindu, nadi, with your channels, you're supposed to get enlightened. But then why do some people come out arrogant, worse than when they entered? It's because I think we tend to lose focus on the fundamental teachings of Buddha, Guru Rinpoche, and all the great teachers who came before us. We tend to forget the fundamental teachings, which is compassion, which is loving kindness, which are like some of the teachings are so basic. For example, the Tibetan translation of Naljor, which is a term we are very familiar with, Naljor. In English, directly translated, it means arriving at the most commonness or common point, Naldujurba. Yeah, so we're going back to the basics. Going back to the basics, arriving back at the most common, the most basic. So the pith teachings, the highest teachings, are some of the most fundamental, basic teachings there are. One more example. We get attached to this beautiful finger that is pointing to the direction. We're not looking at the direction. I'm telling people to go this way. But they look at the finger. Oh, what a beautiful finger you have. Look at the mala. Oh, look at you. I'm ugly, but where to be somebody more beautiful. Oh, you're so beautiful. We get attached to the finger. We do not look at the direction. We get attached with the weight of all these volumes, these words. They don't end. They're endless. I've seen some people read them, study them for 20 years, 25 years, until their backs are bent, until their tongues are like rubber, chanting so much, reading so much. But then you look into their eyes, full of greed. Some of them, full of anger. Why are you so angry? Why are you so uptight? Relax. Eat something. Take a nap. Portuguese, there is a very beautiful saying. Bebe água que se passa. Means drink water, it will pass. So if somebody were hungry, just drink water, it will pass. We make this joke with pets. I used to have some pets in Europe. The pets will sometimes just, beg for food, beg for treats. Drink water, it will pass. So it's a bit like that, Just relax. Look at the basic teachings, which are compassion, loving kindness. Yeah, universal teachings. We forget those things. In the same way, I want to be happy, you want to be happy, right? But our version of happiness is different. It's subjective. It depends on culture, it depends on the era, it depends on the generation. For a youngster, Happiness would be spending countless hours on Instagram and Facebook. Uploading pictures, looking at how many likes they got. Ding! And then you have it's not the morphine, what is it called? The chemical that your brain releases, right? Dopamine, right? Dopamine. I was doing some research. The dopamine, that this ting, we get attached to that ting and not this ting. It's so true. But then for a parent who has a newborn child, the happiness is the ting of the child's toy. Or someone who has this beautiful pet, the happiness is the ting of the bell on his neck. So our version of happiness is different. But what I'm trying to say, we all want to be happy. Whether you're from Ladakh, Tibet, America, or Europe. We all want to be happy. We all want the same thing. But we do not know how to get them. We get mystified by this beautiful, dazzling display of forms, of colors, of shapes. It's amazing. Sometimes when I meet so many people, like in Ladakh, sometimes I meet some people who are so beautiful physically. Some men, some women, so handsome, so beautiful. And I'm just thinking, what makes these beautiful and what makes the other person not as beautiful? It's all in the mind, isn't it? What makes your own partner very attractive? What makes the partner of the neighbor not so attractive? Or vice versa. What makes your old partner unattractive? And what makes the neighbor's partner more attractive? All in the mind. We go after it. We get the neighbor's partner. We do something behind the backs. Again, we get satisfied. Right? It kind of not satisfied. We get bored. We get tired. And we want the next neighbor's partner. You go from neighbor to neighbor. One day you wake up, you look in the mirror. Oh, wrinkles. I didn't used to have them. What should I do? I'm not going to get the next neighbor's partner if I have these wrinkles. Maybe I should do something. Let me save some money. Let me do some surgery. Let me lift my face. Let me inject something. We do those things so that we look more tight. We look more young. Then we go to the next neighbor. But everything is impermanent. Happiness is impermanent. Suffering is impermanent. Impermanence is not bad news. Impermanence is good news. I know I've lived in the West. And people have a different idea of impermanence than we do in the East. I know the culture where you have been brought up because I read about it every day. I follow your news. I may know more about your country than you do sometimes because I read. I've lived there. I study. It fascinates me. The other people, the other countries. My country, my culture, I know it like the back of my hand. But fascinates me. The African tribes, the Amazonian tribes, the Americans, Northern Americans, the Canadians, the Europeans, the Eskimos, the Aborigines. It fascinates them. It really fascinates me. All these different people. But what do they want? They want the same thing. Right? We may think humans are bad because of the current situation in our world. Current economic situation, political situation. We think human race is the worst of all. Yes, we do become bad. But it's also relative. It's also subjective. Our true nature, our true underlying nature is that of kindness, generosity, luminosity, and wisdom. But it's so deep within us. This beautiful jewel is wrapped up with this dirty rag of attachment, of anger, of desire, of jealousy, of arrogance, of ego. You don't see the jewel at all. It looks like a football, like a soccer. It's a rag, let's kick it. Inside there is a diamond, big diamond, which is the Buddha nature. That is the real source of happiness. Not the neighbor, or the neighbor's companion. Not money, not houses. These are impermanent. You buy a new car, oh, V8 engine, electric car, 500 horsepower. It goes from 0 to second in 1.5 seconds, 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds. It's so good. Then you have a small scratch, you have a small bang. Oh, my car got a scratch, I'm going to kill you. Right? It becomes a source of your suffering. You sleep in the night. Oh, my car. You hear this like car alarm going off. Beep, beep, beep. You get out the window. You take the gun, you take the knives. Who's touching my car? Yeah, you have a beautiful wife, a beautiful husband. She goes off to a picnic or to her office. Oh, who did you take a picture with? Who's that guy? I know you're doing something. So the same things that we work so hard for become the strongest cause of our suffering. Right? What I'm trying to say, we have been there, done that, right? Most of you have experiences, much more than me. We all have experiences, disappointments in this display of light and color and form. We attach hooks to them, right? We attach hooks to this beautiful wall. We throw the coat, the jacket, the cardigan of desire onto these hooks. And what happens? It gets stuck. Because we have hooks on the wall of our mind. Right? There's hooks everywhere. Everywhere. In the mind, outside, everywhere there's hooks. You can't, everything, everywhere you go, it's getting stuck. It's getting ripped. It's like walking through a barbed wire. You emerge ragged. You emerge like a beggar. You emerge like you can't recognize yourself. Tattered, bleeding, disappointed. Then the time is gone. It's too late. The fact that you are here, the very fact that you're sitting cross-legged, you're sitting with a straight spine, even if you're sitting on a chair like me, the fact that you have this devotion, this hunger, this thirst to look for something beyond what we see and what we experience is the first step. It is the most important step. People forget this. Some of the practitioners that I know, supposedly very advanced practitioners, they forget this. And they think they're beyond. But the hooks are bigger, the spiritual hooks. They're very dangerous because they're not visible. Huh? They're bigger, they boost your ego. Oh, I must be such a great Lama, I must be such a great teacher, I must be such a great practitioner. You know, the purpose of the teachings is to make you egoless, right? Is to cut down your ego. Is to go to the core of yourself, or your inner self, your true self. Is to make you a wise person, a humble person, a person that shares, that gives back to the universe as much as we take it from them. But we become this black hole, right? I read about black hole. They're quite scary things, right? They literally absorb everything. Yeah, the dark horizon. What is it called, right? Not the dark horizon. What is it called? The event horizon. Yeah, we get close. Don't go close there, okay? Yeah, and I also did all these things, you know. I looked for happiness everywhere. I couldn't find it. I went all over the world. I ran, I sang, I danced, I walked, I crawled, I begged, I bought. I couldn't find true happiness, lasting happiness. I came back, a little bit wiser, slightly wiser before I left. I came back from my journey and I realized that happiness that does not lie anywhere outside, it lies within you. I realized the wisdom of retreat, of meditation. So I spent years in contemplation, guided by my teachers, among one of whom is Rinpoche. Everything he did was teaching. His mudra, I was sharing with Lama Lina and Lama Candice, even his mudra, the way of giving, so gentle. She doesn't give like that. You know, I even observe how people give. That also shows you how gentle you are. We don't sometimes give. We kind of like just throw them, you know, take it, eat it, drink it. Yeah, eat this, go to school. Yeah, wear this tie, go to office. You know. Yeah, sit in a seatbelt. Just let's go to picnic. Let's listen to some Beatles. You know, yesterday, right? But even the way of giving has to be gentle, has to be full of love and wisdom. Rinpoche, even with the way he gave in this mudra. Gentle, he held everything so lightly. With smile. One Hindi word that he knew, Hindi word, acha. It means good, well, good. That's all he knew how to say. Acha, good. Rinpoche, how are you? Acha, good. Rinpoche, can I have some money? I'm poor. Acha, good. Rinpoche, I'm cold. Blanket. Acha, good. Everything about him was good. Because he realized the true nature of his mind, which was full of goodness, not that of suffering. We are wrapped up. Okay? We are wrapped up. Our true nature, unfortunately, is wrapped up, it's covered by this soot, this dust that has been there since primordial times. It's like a downward spiral. You cannot take a shower while you're swimming in the mud. You cannot clean yourself. You have to be inherently, primordially pure, like a lotus. The lotus does exist in the mud. It is unsullied, but it has to emerge, otherwise we don't see it. That is the teaching on the lotuses. That is why the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, Guru Rinpoche, all the teachers are portrayed as sitting on a lotus. Observe it. You know, purity within all this murkiness of samsara. This true wisdom, this jewel that is wrapped up in this beautiful lotus. Another analogy. Yeah? That's why practice is so important. That is why looking at the person who is flying the kite is very important. We always look at the kite. We always look at the kite. We have to look at who's flying the kite. We feel angry. Today the talk I'm keeping it very spontaneous, open, and not in a systematic way. So it may sound garbled. Because I don't know most of you. I don't know your spiritual levels. I do know that you all want the same thing. I do know that you have this wisdom. I do know that you have this hunger for something different, something beyond. So I'm just speaking spontaneously. In the Buddhist teachings, it is mentioned that anger, attachment, jealousy, greed, all these defilements, are they bad or are they good? They use these kind of words, good or bad. Now, for the subjects, for the beings who have limited karma, limited capacity, the Buddha taught in a different way. He said there is good and bad, be careful. There is a hell, there is a heaven. He come to the higher teachings, he said, well, that depends on the mind. You know, Shantideva said, the hell realm, who built it? All the yamas who torture us, who created them? Who gave birth to these monsters? Right? A hungry ghost realm. Who created all these things? Nothing. Only the confused mind created all these things. If your mind is confused, everything is suffering. Observe, when you're in love, when somebody says, oh, Janice, oh, David, oh, you know, Dorji, I love you so much. Oh, you become, oh my God, I'm so happy. That's called what? Cloud number 9, right? I don't know what's with the number 9, but you feel like you're floated. Somebody spits on you, you're like, no problem, it's okay. You know, you just wipe the spit off your face. No problem, it's okay, no problem. No beer, no coffee, no problem. I'll just have water, it's okay. I'm so happy, oh my God, I'm in love. You know, everything changes. No sugar, no salt, it's okay, no problem. Everything tastes good because your mind changed. People are shouting, people are crying, it's so hot. No, I'm fine, I'm in love. I'm so happy. That's how strong the mind is, how powerful the mind is. Then, One day you receive a message, ding, dopamine. I want to break up with you. Things are not working well. Or the language they use, we need to talk. I hate that word. I'm sharing my personal experiences, okay? I hate that we need to talk. I was like, uh-oh, what happened? Anxiety. Let's leave it, let's do it after the picnic. Yesterday, we'll go for a picnic somewhere, We'll do something else after dinner, But no, we need to talk. We need to have a chat. Then that's it. I don't think it's going to work out. Oh my God. Are you dumping me? Yes. I'm so sorry. Goodbye. Sayonara. Ciao, ciao. Then, even if somebody gives you the best champagne, the best wine, the best cut of meat. I'm a vegetarian, but not everybody has to be. They give you the best vegetables. They gave you the sweetest candies. They give you truffles to eat instead of normal common chocolates. It doesn't taste good. Nothing tastes good. You're depressed. You're in the bed. Right? Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. I love Beatles. So you get, everything is devastated. Power of the mind. Even if somebody gives you a puppy, oh, so cute, but power of the mind. Shattered, that's the feeling, right? Shattered, broken, devastated, destroyed, obliterated. That's the feeling we have. That's how powerful the mind is. Then, after a few days, somebody else comes up, hey, you want to go out? Again, time to move on. Again, you go into the cycle. So the mind is very powerful. We have to observe our minds. I'm sure you guys know how to do that. You have great teachers. You had a great teacher who was previously confined in a human body, but now is liberated. You don't see me crying. When I came to a monastery, he was the first one to receive me at the temple with his beautiful Santa Claus-like form, so full of joy. I saw this, amazing human being who came from Tibet. You can say naked, really. He had nothing. He just had some rags. He brought his guru, whom he saw as a Buddha, as Guru Rinpoche. He brought him. We can't even carry our own rucksacks, right? We can't even carry our own bottle of water. He carried his guru and his provisions across all the passes where the oxygen is so low, you have to take breath every 10 steps. I live in Ladakh, ask me. He came from Tibet not with like good shoes made by good, with good brands like North Face or Merrell or, Columbia. He had like Tibetan Columbia, Tibetan North Face, yeah, with rags. He literally came with the North Face. He came here. He only knew one word, Acha. With Acha, with goodness, with the wisdom of his mind, with his limitless love and compassion, look at what he has built. I was telling Lama Candice and Lama Lena that the way I think of Wangdo Rinpoche, he pulled all the strings. He was almost like a puppet master. He pulled all the strings and he arranged them in such a beautiful way that is bringing a lot of people together. Yeah? And I have so much to share, but I think it's almost 11, and maybe we should have some question and answers, and then I can continue on that. I really like that actually, interactive sessions, because I sometimes have seminars with people in the West. I had in Delhi. Sometimes I teach. Sometimes I have seminars with young people, and then I go on this monologue about everything. I just keep blabbering. But then I enjoy it when people ask questions, because it gives me wisdom. Because everybody here has so much wisdom in their own ways. So it's good to share, it's good to interact, it's good to ask. So I ask you to ask questions.
Eminence, could you describe briefly Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, Satchana?
Buddhism is categorized in 3 systems, in 3 ways of lives. Yeah. We call them yanas. Yanas means vehicles. The path is the same, but the vehicle, the delivery system is different to enlightenment. The path is the same. We are all on the same path. The Theravadins, the Mahayanists, the Vajrayanists, among whom are Mahamudra and Dzogchen practitioners. The thing is, in one of the classic texts by Gampopa, who is sitting there, to Marpa's left, to our right, on the other side of Milarepa, Gampopa, in his text on Buddha nature, he said, why did the Buddha create diverse systems? Because we have different capacities, right? Not everyone can become an engineer. Those people who seemingly are not as intelligent academically, who might go on to become a doctor or an engineer or something else, a scientist, but they can be very creative. They can become great artists. So they have a different capacity. So the Buddha, he saw this. First he was discouraged after he achieved enlightenment. He was discouraged. He said, I'm not going to teach. It's useless. 7 weeks he spent in the beautiful forest of India, wandering around, playing with the animals. But then all the Dakinis, all the mystical beings, they came, they descended, and then they supplicated to the Buddha that there are different capacities, and there are people, there are beings who will understand your teachings. And the Buddha taught these 3 different settings. There's Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Now the term Hinayana is slightly, derogatory, like, putting down. So we try not to use it. Because Hina means low, the low vehicle, the limited vehicle. And we try not to use the term. We try to use the term Theravada, which is their own lineage, which is their own way of life. So anyway, Theravadas, the teachings are quite simple. The main teachings are the 4 Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. Their practice concerns mostly on discipline. They're very full of discipline. You've seen them, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Cambodia, right, Myanmar. They're so disciplined, much more disciplined than we are. Which is great, beautiful, that it works for them. That's the way they practice. Now, the Mahayanist, when you go up, the higher teachings of the Mahayanist, there are more teachings on emptiness and altruistic compassion. It goes higher. The Hinayanists or the Theravadins, whatever you want to call them, they focus more on their community, Sangha. The Mahayanists, they focus more on the Dharma, the actual Dharma. We all focus on the Dharma. They focus on the pith teachings of the Dharma. Then you go up to the Vajrayanist, which we all practice, Dzogchen, Mahamudra. They focus directly on the Buddha. On Buddha, not the Buddha, not the historical Buddha, on Buddha, which means enlightenment. Because when we say Buddha, automatically we have this guy sitting under a tree. Because he was so famous, he was so cool. But no, when we say Buddha, like 99% of the time when we say Buddha, it means enlightenment as a state. So the Mahamudras and the Dzogchen practitioners, they focus directly on enlightenment itself. The Theravada path, because of their strict discipline, it takes longer for them to reach their destination. If you were to sail across the ocean, if you were to go on a cruise ship, I've never been, but I would love to one day. Cruise ships, yeah? Not on the Titanic, I think, maybe on some other ship. If you go on a cruise ship, people get tired, right? You miss the land. So what they do, they stop at these beautiful islands. Take a break, dance, sing, you look around, come back, then you continue on your journey until you reach your destination. Now the Theravada path is a bit more like that. Because the Buddha said that they might get discouraged, they might get tired on the journey, so he created this system of Theravada to rest Then you have the Mahayanist, which it's faster to reach the enlightenment. It's like taking a helicopter towards the island, towards Hawaii, towards the Fiji Islands, towards Jamaica. You take a helicopter. It's faster. But the fastest mode of transportation would be a jet, I think, a supersonic jet. That is what the Vajrayana we are doing. But it's so fast sometimes that you might get jet lag. Where else would you get jet lag, right? You can't get helicopter lag. You can't get cruise lag. You get jet lag. You arrive so fast. You look, whoa, I'm already here. What the? What happened? And then, wow, this jet is so beautiful. Oh my God, look at this leather seats. Look at this captain. They're so handsome. They're so beautiful. Look at the clouds, so beautiful. Look at that. That is one of the dangers of Vajrayana. And we need to always focus discipline. Discipline is very important because the Buddha also taught 3 different ways of practicing. The 3 practices. The practice of discipline, Lapa Tsurim ki Lapa. The practice of meditation, or you can say meditative concentration, Lapa Tingin Zingi Lapa. And then you have the 3rd one, Lapa Shirab ki Lapa. Yeah, the practice of wisdom. But then I used to think, why did the Buddha first put discipline, then meditation, then wisdom? Because think about it. When I used to roam around, go everywhere, play soccer, run around, hide and seek, go to picnics, I never had a stable mind. My mind was always everywhere because I was always taking in a lot of information through my senses. Once I sat down in retreat in a cave, up there in the caves, in Darjeeling, in my room, which looks like a cave anyway, it's falling apart. Once I sat in my cave, in my room, full of discipline, my mind automatically became stable. Meditation became natural, spontaneous, not fabricated, not exerted. It just came, it just happened. You don't have to meditate. You just sit down and meditation just happens, which leads to wisdom. All of a sudden, the text you read makes more sense. All of a sudden, when you see an animal, you don't see as this nuisance blocking the road, pooping everywhere. Yeah, you see this beautiful animal crossing the road, gliding, mooing and barking or meowing across, you see things differently. A wise person told me once, he said, he was an academic. He was not a Buddhist, he was a Hindu. We had this beautiful chat. He said, what you said makes sense, he said to me. Because the way you think, the way you train your mind, the way you live your life totally changes how you see things. He is an academic, he reads words all the time, right? He sees, when he goes to Delhi, he only sees billboards. He sees all the letters. He doesn't see the humans. He sees letters everywhere. His mind is automatically captured by these, letters, these billboards. That's what used to happen to me. When I was younger, I used to look at, that's a very attractive woman. That is a very attractive man. That is a beautiful toy. That is a beautiful park. I want to play there. That's a beautiful playground. Yeah, that's a very beautiful thing, whatever. But as you develop your mind, you see things different. Now when I go to Delhi, when I go to Ladakh, when I go to the West, I see humans, I see animals. I don't see the buildings. I don't see the cars. I see things differently. And I can feel them. When I meet someone, I can feel them. I look into their eyes and I can feel them. I can feel that they're also just like me. They may look different, but inside they're just like me. They want the same things. They're also hungry for the same things that I'm hungry for. And that connects us. That breaks this barrier. We don't do that usually. Because of ego, right? Because of attachment. We think we are so superior. We think we are so good. It creates barriers between humans, between species. Now when I see an animal, I don't think of them as nuisance, not at all. I've stopped eating animals because I was practicing Chenrezig, compassion. And it was hypocritical to sit on a throne and talk about compassion while I was consuming them. Different people, different paths. Some people on a Vajrayana path, they may have to be non-vegetarian to supplement their practices. It works in a different way. So again, inherently it's not bad to eat meat or to drink alcohol. It depends why we use them. That's the beauty of Buddhism. Nothing is written in black and white. Even those written in black and white can be reasoned with. It's applicable according to different situation. So we cannot say lying or stealing is a sin. We don't use such words. It depends. If a bad person wants to kill a lot of people, assemble like us, but if somebody outside says, oh, nobody's here, go down, go towards the valley, go towards the mountain, nobody's here, that's a lie. But it's actually a good deed. So nothing is concrete. Nothing is black and white. And when I'm coming back to what I was saying, your mind sees things differently as you train yourself, as you practice. That's what Lama Wangdur saw. He saw the need in the people who came up to him. The need for teachings, the need for food, the need for money, the need for clothes. And he gave, he supplied, he supplemented all these people accordingly. And that's wisdom. Compassion and wisdom. They have to go hand in hand. Compassion and wisdom. The male and the female. That's universal, isn't it? You know, compassion and wisdom, it has to go hand in hand. Most often, we forget one aspect. We either focus too much on wisdom and we become devoid of compassion, we become arrogant, we become selfish, we become too political. Sometimes we focus too much on compassion and we become emotional, we become weak. That's also not good. We should be compassionate without being attached. We should have loving kindness without being attached. It's tricky, but we can do it. But we get attached, right? We're humans. We attach small hooks everywhere. That causes suffering. But the practice of Dzogchen, the practice of Mahamudra, is to see that there was no hook. Even the hook is an illusion. There was no coat, there was no cardigan, there was no wall. There is nothing, yet there is everything. That also you have to focus on. The relative truth and now it goes confusing. So anyway, next question. Anyone?
Come on, guys, don't be shy.
Please, yes. Can you introduce yourself? Your name and your country? From Holland. Hello.
Tantra. Where does the Catholic path fit into this categorizing? Tantra is also something that's not in Hinduism and India as such. And where does this flow in and what's the position of the Tantric path in this?
Tantra is a tradition that is shared across different belief systems, different philosophies, different ways of life. That's why you see similarities in Hinduism and in Bon tradition, in Mahayana, in Vajrayana. You may even see some Tantra in some of the natives in the jungles. It is universal. But in Tibetan Buddhism, in let's not call it Tibetan, let's call it Vajrayana. In Vajrayana Buddhism, why we practice Tantra is to accelerate our journey towards enlightenment. It's like putting, well, I'm into cars, so it's like putting nitro into the car. Yeah? Or it's like, getting high on sugar. But it's basically just accelerating your journey towards enlightenment. Tantra has different forms. Different teachings are different tantras. It is systematic, yet it's not very systematic. It's quite complicated to understand. But it depends on the teachings that a teacher has given you, and it depends on what kind of tantra it is. And if you have true devotion to your teacher, you will just practice the tantra that he's given you. For example, the tantra of green Tara, It's Kriya Tantra. The Tantra of Chakra Samvara. It's ultimate Yoga Tantra. Anuttara Yoga Tantra. Yeah? So it depends on the Tantra of the teaching, which kind of Tantra it is. But whatever it is, the journey is the same. And the reason for practicing Tantra is the same. It's always enlightenment. And enlightenment, not for the sake of self. That is also the Theravadan view. They wish to achieve enlightenment for the sake of themselves and their Sangha. But the Mahayani's point of view is universal, altruistic, unselfish. No points, no bullet points, no hooks, free. And that is very powerful. When you don't have an object, then there is no subject. When you have an object, there is a subject. You're stuck. Codependence. When you have a left, there is a right. What do you do when there is no left? What is this? Nothing. Irrelevant. So Mahayana and Vajrayana, we remove the object. The subject naturally disappears. There are different techniques on how to do this. Yeah? But that is a basic principle. And to achieve enlightenment, that is very important what I'm saying about coming to the fundamentals. Whatever we do, we should have an altruistic intention. And we have to have some faith. The beauty of Buddhism, I believe, is that it's quite different from other religions in terms of 95% of it makes a lot of sense. But in some aspects, 5%, you need a little bit of faith, leap of faith. You need to have that trust in your teacher, that what he's saying is true. But only 5%. But then sometimes what happens, you get attached to a teacher. It becomes the opposite. You listen to 95% of, what he says. You have 95% blind faith and 5% wisdom. That leads to suffering also. It has led to suffering, unfortunately. But it doesn't have to be like that. Tulips in Holland, right? Beautiful tulips. And beautiful bicycles. A lot. I love bicycles. I didn't get a chance to go to Holland, but I was in Denmark. So it's like similarly plain, right? Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Thank you so much. My name is Adrian. I live in Sweden, and Campus is monastery there. And just being here is so magnificent, and I would love it if you could talk about devotion to the Guru and the lineage, awakening, finding gratitude and love. It's quite overwhelming.
You're which part of Sweden?
Southern Sweden, quite close to Malmö.
I went to Malmö. I taught in a forest. We had a retreat. And I taught at this beautiful lake. I still have friends. Rikke, Mikkel. I have lots of friends there. Beautiful place. Yeah. I love IKEA, by the way. Who doesn't? I recently bought a lot of IKEA furniture. No, because you get tired of all these carvings sometimes, So I'm building these guest rooms in Ladakh. And I thought, no carvings here. No, not too much, paintings. I want just simple stuff that people haven't seen there. So I brought some IKEA furniture. I don't know how they will receive it. They will be thinking, what is this, So you want me to talk about devotion and what is the second thing you said?
In particular to devotion to the Guru and the lineage.
Yeah. Now, you come on in the Theravada path, the Sangha is very important. Yeah, the community. Mahayana path, the teaching is very important. I mean, it's important everywhere. But in the Vajrayana path, the most important thing is the Guru. Why? Think about it. Has anyone seen Buddha Shakyamuni? No. Maybe in visions, maybe in dreams, But in physical, in real life, in flesh and blood, no. Have you ever seen Guru Rinpoche? You may have had glimpses in your visualizations, in your meditative experience, in your dreams, but in flesh and bone, no. Have you seen Nagarjuna, the great Indian scholars? No, we haven't. Have you seen Milarepa? No. Whom have you seen? Our physical guru. So whom should we be more grateful to? Our physical guru. Right? Because he is the one who channels the teachings of the Dharmakaya, filters through his Sambhogakaya, and gives via his Nirmanakaya. Yeah. The guru is everything in Vajrayana. Literally, it's everything. And it's everywhere. Guru is also not limited to a human form. The guru is within a puppy. A guru is within this pillar. A guru is within each and every one of us. And we should have devotion, not for one person, but through that person, through his Sambhogakaya, you should have devotion for Dharmakaya, which is limitless, which doesn't have any form. That is a true devotion. But we are humans, so we have to start somewhere. We start with the Nirmanakaya. We start with the rain. The sky wants to benefit us. But sky is formless. What does the sky do? Creates clouds. The sky is like Dharmakaya. Formless. Well, you can argue about that, but space, like space for example. Then you have Sambhogakaya within the sky that it creates, which has form, beautiful form. But the clouds can't reach us. We cannot reach the cloud. How do we extract benefit from the cloud? It creates rain. That's Nirmanakaya. That's Guru Rinpoche. That's our teachers. That's Venerable Wangdru Rinpoche. And we being humans, we tend to appreciate human forms. Human forms more than other forms. We get inspired by speeches, by eye contact, by touch. All this, a human performs better. Of course, I love animals. I have a dog, Oscar, beautiful. I learn more from him sometimes than from some people whom I have conversations with actually. He teaches me, just looking at me, he teaches me love and devotion, loyalty, greed sometimes when he wants a treat. So I see my guru everywhere. I see my guru everywhere. I see my guru in you. I see my guru in the cow that was blocking my path. I see my guru in the monkeys who stole my bananas when I was young. Yeah, I see my guru in the Indians, in the Ladakis. When you start to feel your guru everywhere, that is the true guru devotion. It's slightly dangerous when you fall in love with your guru, when you get attached to your guru. Some people confuse it for devotion, but then they get attached. Then things might happen which may cause suffering and confusion. Also, one thing is better not to get too close to the sun. My root guru, Gyalong Drukpa, and my other gurus like Lama Wangdru Rinpoche, other gurus, Tsongtse Khyentse, whom I received teachings from, Khenpos, I never follow them physically. I meet them sometimes, have a cup of tea. How are you? I pay my respects with chit-chat. Because they're in a human form. They do chit-chat. That's their teaching also. There's teachings everywhere. If you can open yourself up. But if you limit yourself, like I went to see the teacher, he asked about the weather. He asked about political situation in my country. He asked about my well-being. No Dzogchen teaching, no Mahamudra teaching. What should I do? That is a Dzogchen teaching. That is a Mahamudra teaching. He's just wrapping it up in a different wrapper. So the devotion to the guru has to be limitless. You have one focal point, you have one physical guru, but you should not see them as humans. You should see them as Buddhas. And trust me, you shouldn't get too close to them. It's like Icarus and the sun. It's like getting too close to your superheroes, right? It's better not to get too close. Because we as humans, we see faults. Some things may take place which in the true sense of Dharmakaya, in the true play of the primordial, mystical way, it is beneficial for us. But unfortunately, sometimes people misunderstand and it can cause sufferings. So the devotion to the Guru, I believe, should be universal. Even when you're in America and your Guru is in the East, or vice versa, which is happening these days. We are here, but our Guru is in the West. I don't follow my Guru. You know, some of my peers, some tulkus, some monks, they follow our Guru, my root Guru, Gyalwang Drukpa, wherever he goes. I don't follow him. I don't need to. Because whenever I practice Mahamudra, Dzogchen, whenever I practice true compassion, whenever I sit down and contemplate, my Guru is with me. And I have this conviction, I have this faith. So my Guru is never apart from me. He has never been apart from me. And at the end, when we finish our session, I don't know what time should we finish, roughly?
Probably about noon, 2 hours.
Okay. All right, noon, 12 o'clock?
Yeah, like that, or a little
Okay.
before, a little
Okay.
after,
So
as you like.
right now it's 11:15. So maybe 11:45, I would like to do this beautiful supplication. I love singing. Though I sound like a donkey, I love singing, chantings, you know. So we have this beautiful prayer which is called Calling the Guru from Afar.
Yes, please.
That is one of the most powerful practices. And I do this every day in Ladakh before we do Chö practice. I'm a big Chö practitioner. I love doing Chö practice. And we always supplicate to the Guru right at the beginning. And we will do this at the end. I will chant, but because you cannot read Tibetan, you can just be with me, fold your palms and just listen to the song and just be present. Yeah, but we have half an hour until then. So maybe one more question. Yeah, thanks.
I was wondering what advice you would give to someone who doesn't have a teacher, how they would start along the path, you know, what they would practice while they are waiting for that dynamic energy to unite them with their teacher.
Let me remove the vase. Vase. I once had an argument. I said vase, you know, because I studied in England. That's a vase, innit? And she said, no, that's a vase. I said, no, that's a vase, innit? If somebody hasn't found a teacher yet, that is many reasons, I think. Karmic. Most of it is karma. But the thing with karma is like it's slightly tricky, isn't it? Some people see karma differently. But like I said, if you bring it down to the basics, if you make it very... Can I put it down?
Yes.
No, you are the bosses, so you tell me. I moved the mic, you know. She scolded me. We're used to these broken mics in the villages, you know. You have to bring it like almost in your mouth in order for people to hear something. So I'm used to that. Anyway, the main thing is karma. Why you haven't found your guru yet? Yeah? Because there are gurus everywhere. Some who dress like us. Some who dress like Lama Lena and Lama Candice. Some who dress like a common person. And some who dress like beggars. Remember the teaching. That is why I always tell people. Remember the teachings, remember the biographies. Remember what happened, what transpired. How did Naropa meet Naropa meet Tilopa? Tilopa was this beggar. You see these Indian saints, these great Indian saints on the banks of the river, on the Ganges. They don't look much like a Rinpoche. They don't look very enlightened. They look kind of malnourished, frankly. They look kind of, they're in suffering. But no, they're very wise. And that's exactly how Tilopa was. He was this like scrawny, ragged, beggar-looking guy sitting on the bank of the Ganges, eating fish, throwing half of it back in the water, snapping his finger. Now, what would you see? What would you observe? You would see, that's a beggar. He's killing all our fishes. And he's not even eating all of it. He's just throwing half of it. He's eating the good parts. He's throwing the bad parts. He's not even cooking them. You know? But that's how a guru can be. So what I'm trying to say, a guru can be in any form. If you have the right karma, you will see it as a guru. If you have the wrong karma, you will see it as a beggar. It depends. Naropa thought he was this great, great master. He was quite arrogant actually. He was this great scholar from Nalanda University. He was the protector of the Northern Gate, through which a lot of heretics, that's a very ancient term, lots of, I want to say non-believer, I don't like those words, a lot of challengers came into Nalanda University, mainly through the Northern Gate. And that was the most difficult gate to protect in debate, in reasoning, in teachings. And he was a protector of the Northern Gate. He was amazing. He thought he was this great Buddha. But one day this old woman came. She was a Dakini. She was a Dakini and she said to him, you think you're so great, but you aren't. There's someone called Tilopa. You have to meet him. Man, just hearing the name Tilopa, his hair just, woof, you know. When Milarepa heard the name of Marpa, his body went woof. That's also, these are signs, karmic signs. When you think of Wangdo Rinpoche, you feel woof, right? His smile, his laughter, his gentleness. Amazing. We have a connection to him. So it depends. Now the problem with karma is that karma can be quite confusing, controversial sometimes. And unfortunately, in the West, karma has been very trivialized, I think. Oh, karma gets receipts. Who was it? Taylor Swift? I think she sang a song or something. You know, they say, you have these sayings. Karma is B-I-T-C-H, karma keeps receipts, karma, you know, doesn't forget. You almost make karma sentient. But karma is not sentient. Now, again, go back to the basics. What does karma mean? It means action. Notch it up a little. It means cause and effect. That's it. Karam in Sanskrit. So, the way I see karma is, I'm not thirsty now because I just had a big gulp of water. I'm not hungry because I had cheese toast and an omelette for breakfast. I'm not tired because I slept for roughly 7 to 8 hours. I know that. But if I ask you, what did you have for lunch last year? Same time last year, what did you have for lunch? You did have lunch, no? At least you might have had a meal. You don't remember. And what about 10 years ago? Where were you? November 5th? And today is November 7th? Yeah? 11:20, where were you? You were somewhere. But you don't remember. Just because we don't remember, just because we don't see this connection between cause and effect, doesn't mean the cause did not take place. On a short level, on a short term, you see the relation. Yeah? Thirsty, drink water. Hungry, eat food. Tired, sleep. But karma does exist. That butterfly had fluttered its wings. Now, the tornado has not yet come. Or the breeze, depends. Or the breeze has not yet caught up with you. It will take time. It can be immediate, or it will take eons. But one day, at the right place, when the conditions are favorable, when it catches up with you, when the bird lands, the shadow and the bird will meet. While the bird is soaring up in the sky, you don't know where the shadow is. You do know there's a shadow. And you know the bird is going to land. Bird's going to eat, right? Bird's going to drink. Bird's going to live. So when the bird lands, you know, 11:20. So Pema, Guru Rinpoche's crown, the bird landed. And there is a shadow. That's where they met. But the shadow does exist. So when the shadow and the bird catch up, you meet your Guru. What to do while you wait? Well, be a good person. It doesn't hurt. Study, read about Buddhism, broaden your knowledge. Don't limit yourself to just one particular lineage, particular way of being. Experience things, look into eyes, touch, hug, feel. These are things you can't teach in the text. I'm a little bit huggy-touchy, you know, because It's amazing when you embrace someone, when you hold their hands, when you look into their eyes. You connect on a much deeper level. The masks are illusory. There are no masks. There are no fabrications. It becomes formless. It's amazing. Do that. Be human. Raise animals. Really, I think that's one of the most wonderful things. Raise kittens and dogs, donkeys. In Ladakh, I once had a goat, Pashmina goat. Well, I didn't eat him and, make a show, because thankfully I had given up meat by then. I called him Sonam, means lucky. Yeah? So I rescued him from this shepherd who wanted to, offer him. But I managed to rescue him. And it was his karma. He had sprained his ankle, because in Ladakh I live in the mountains. Beautiful mountains. Oh my God. Just thinking about it makes me... So I was in the mountains with my mother and my sisters, and we heard this bleating, meh, meh, a lot in the night. I was like, am I dreaming? I must be dreaming. But then when I woke up, it was still bleating. I said to my mother, like, hey, I think there is a goat. We looked up, and there was a goat on the top of the mountain, like bleating his lungs out, come and get me. And goats are very difficult, it's the first time I actually took care of a goat. Yeah, and I asked my mother, and my mother, though she had, been with goats and cows and whatever, she must have forgotten. She said, tie it around his horn and pull it. No, don't do that. Next time you want to, bring a goat to your house, or you want to goat herd, sheep herd, don't go to their horns. They break really hard. And their hoofs are very strong, I had a lot of trouble dragging him down to my meditation center, to my residence, to feed him, to give him water. But he wouldn't do this. He thought I was going to kill him. But we brought him down. I have a video, very nice. Me and my sisters, my adopted sister, we gave him some spinach. He loved the spinach. He loved sampa, actually. My mom said, no, give him sampa. He'll like it more. He loved sampa. Roasted barley. I was like, that's like true Ladakhi goat. High five, Yeah, so that goat, karma again. Otherwise he would be in somebody's belly, right? Karma. Maybe I'm his guru. Maybe he was my guru. Who knows? So, karma. Yeah. Next. Yes.
And thank you, it's an absolute honour to be here to receive the teachings. Also sincere heart gratitude to Linda and Rinpoche. Beautiful to hear you speak so warmly with such shine. It feels like I've known you lifetimes. It was very beautiful to hear you share about the word discipline. It's certainly ring alarm bells for me sometimes due to school too much in the past. And I've received great direction on how to practice, but I'd love to hear you share your experience of discipline as you've been exposed to rigorous literature. How can I help my practice?
My idea of discipline is quite Vajrayanist. Because if you practice the discipline of the other teachings, of Theravada, or even of Hinayana, which are wonderful, to become a celibate, to observe all the 200-something vows, 300-something vows, it's wonderful if you can do that. Some people have the capacity and the conditioning to lead such a life. But not everybody is cut from the same cloth. Some are different. I'm different from what we usually practice in the monasteries. For me, discipline means, it doesn't mean deprivation. It doesn't mean to reject. It doesn't mean rejection. It doesn't mean celibacy. It means you have to be disciplined with your mind, inner discipline, secret discipline. That is more important than outer discipline. Outer discipline, if you are not careful, it can become a trap. You see all the people rushing to the monastery, to the Lama. We're going to take the vows. We're going to become this, whatever, Let's go together. Everybody's so excited to be part of this community, right? Because we all want to have this belonging, togetherness. It's cool to have this group. We all rush. We don't think. Then afterwards, you just realize, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm not allowed to do this. That goes against your self, how you are. If you can change it, okay, your wish. But if you can't, it causes a lot of conflict, a lot of inner conflict. So my idea of discipline has to be inner discipline. For example, if you have a lot of wealth, if you have a big house, a big car, having them is not a problem. Getting attached to them is the problem. So rejecting all these things is not wise. Because look, if you have wisdom, if you allow yourself to be open, if your inner discipline is strong, you will not be disturbed by external matters. You can actually use them for your benefit and for the benefit of others. You can strengthen yourself. The same knife that can cut your finger can also cut vegetables. But we end up cutting our hands because we don't have discipline, inner discipline. That is a problem. So my way of practicing is, I do have some possessions, not much. I'm not attached to them. I'm disciplined in that way. I know they are illusory. I know they appear. They are born, they appear, and they will vanish. I know that. The moment I receive something, I know that it is an illusion. I just know it. I don't know how. Maybe years of getting hammered on the head with a stick, I think that helped me. I also know that pain is also illusory. Well, it's quite difficult with pain. But no, as soon as I receive something, an offering, a book, money, whatever, I know that it's impermanent. It's illusory. And I don't get attached. I don't attach any hooks. I know it's going to get scratched, it's going to get stolen, it's going to get broken. That's the inner discipline. When you meet someone, when you have an experience, like this beautiful experience, before I entered, I knew, subconsciously, I knew, in a way I had this feeling. I knew that this meeting, this beautiful congregation will end within 2 hours. I will go to Ladakh and you will go back to your own places. I know it. That's the inner discipline. And that doesn't cause distress. That causes happiness because I know every second counts. So every second is precious. Every second, every word that I utter, I think before I say it. I rephrase it in my mind just to utilize this beautiful moment. That's discipline. Time is very short in this lifetime, in this current form. We will change, we will transform into another energy. It doesn't take long. It takes a small virus to transform us. It takes a small bullet to transform us into something else. It takes one drop of semen, sperm, to transform something into life form. It's true, isn't it? It takes a small seed to transform into this beautiful blossom, beautiful flower. So everything changes. That is the nature. Understanding that, I think, is a true discipline. Not these rejections, not this, oh, no. Inside is yes. Let them go, then I will take it. Sometimes, not all, okay? Sometimes. I've seen this. Oh, I'm celibate, I'm, so good. I don't want anything, no. But then when they offer kata, they look, oh, well, how much is there? Things I've seen. Yeah. Next question.
I think actually we're on the time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So this beautiful teaching was composed by the omniscient, by the all-knowing, by the great Pema Karpo, the fourth Gyalwang Drukpa, whose compositions, whose tantras, whose teachings we still practice every day. In fact, the rituals and the prayers that took place, which you guys may have observed before the cremation, it was also composed by him, Padmagarbo. The great fourth Gelung Drukpa, I think, is there. The second, yeah, the second one. And this prayer is called calling the Guru from afar. The one that dispels Jangbu Hingi Munsil. Calling the Guru from afar, which dispels the darkness of ignorance within us. So, fold your palms, rest in the nature of your mind, just relax, just relax. Don't focus on anything, just relax. Let everything happen. Go back to the basics. Expose yourself from within, just relax. Take off all the clothes, take off all the masks, all the hooks, all the zips. Just untie all the knots and just relax. Truly, truly relax. It is a very heavy word, very meaningful word. Relax within yourself. Namo Guru Gata Jiga Yingi Lonai Chokpa Dojini Jangjin Chokjo Dabai Shingdo Tesuma Sangyas Gi Rolbai Jodo Jikshol Do Nile Nyame Doboni Gorgyo Skaldan Mindola Gutbe Paldan Dukbai Yapse Damjat Gundus Ki Jibjin Kungyang Awani Norbo Solvani Kone Deblai Tokje Gyane Razishe Shigas Wandagin Ziju Chena Yishis Kirolbai Migi Tatpala Zamgi Chen Labarang Jondo Zolvai Dimnis Nyobadan Dove Songme Dulba Yes Gonjoy Solvai Ninkone Debla Tokje Gyangne Razikshe Skuji Yishis Kingaldan Yondan Gundus Gongbo Sancho Dospala Zamgi Nangwa Tamala Gyonkas Deje Bardo Dan Sumdo Resa Keran Lai Jebe Sovanin Kone Deblai Tokje Gyane Razikshe Gezon Dosbaye Mela Tolna Raya Lai Dane Sangyas Landel Do Dudbe Samna Dambaye Denzos Dikchanyal Varo Longje Tokje Zizgando Inchisoy Tatami Yoldo Sonde Chingia Lobga Zondogo Tangbe Nang Yolging Over Jibzon Dame Doya Gyan Miring Yorwarang Yido Sharang Uzondo Dongwa Dokje Yodme La Rago Kamsum Gorwa Yesem Shan Malus Tarpalang Gutbe Gurme Yedam Denyelan Dazong Azondo Jola Dokje Zigrani Nango Namchi Chame Tsamakoyang Deje Lonaro Mangla Tokje Gyangne Razikshe Shinji Nika Medbe Jeja Chima Jongla Tukje gyane razikshi Tadon lo na mangyur tsende set pa chen la Tukje gyane razikshi Jikten tewa macho samlo kaya ten la Tukje gyane razikshi Tamchu stopjar songne choto dengza chala Tukje gyane razikshi Kascha nying roz manus doyo shenja jenla Tukje gyane razikshi Jikbo rila matsoy kije chong chong kamla Tukje gyane razikshi Gyalve sonrai toskyan chusgya le man tongla Tukje gyane razikshi Gume jula maskes doge donyen kenla Tukje gyane razikshi Shinje ponya lepse chije dengzat mela Tukje gyane razikshi Lasngan pacha dasbe nyomo ranga shola Tukje gyane razikshi Kangchon ro nyo medbe lega nido jenla Tukje gyane razikshi Jibzun damba jenla wangji ngabda Nenga ribe genba jenbo Jengyo genbe judo juje Dalo jizo dovare jingi lobje Tanjo nidga shesbar jingi lobje Jewa mita jembare jingi lobje Lande lume govare jingi lobje Korve nimi dobare jingi lobje Tarbe peyon don wara jingi lobje Yolande ba med bare jingi lobje No la sonjos bon wara jingi lobje Skedo endam gai dal wara jingi lobje Nyen la gadon dal wara jingi lobje Dala jowa med bare jingi lobje Tado richo zem bare jingi lobje Chonzen chenwa dol bare jingi lobje Lama sangya sunjal bare jingi lobje Tadguz gyunchad med bare jingi lobje Chenza lek bare don wara jingi lobje Chison zed mara zim bare jingi lobje Toye jidon des bara jingi lobje Duzja jemba lo bara jingi lobje Duz menang nen char bara jingi lobje Nangwa simsu shes bara jingi lobje Semni jidza dal bara jingi lobje Rangsen rangon chot bara jingi lobje Tolpa yingso dang bara jingi lobje Tajal tawa to bara jingi lobje Seje gomla zon bara jingi lobje Shongjon chot bash kyong bara jingi lobje Das bo juz gor tong war jingi lobje Palden lama goncho sumdus ngawa norbo Tokje zikje jingi lobje Den joy kerang ta wo shoji pan chen kerang ta wo shoji tol dan kerang ta wo shoji to do kerang ta wo shoji to go kerang ta wo shoji doing going kerang ta wo shoji sangyas kerang ta wo shoji lama keno lama keno. Thank you. The verses are beautiful. I could feel goosebumps. Fortunately, I understand Tibetan. I was feeling goosebumps, but you felt the vibes in those ancient words and the ancient way of singing. So many beautiful verses. Some of them say, Kijin tongtoi kamla, chikpo rila matsu, Kijin tongtoi kamla, tuji gyana razi shek. I couldn't last alone in the caves. This is my favorite passage, favorite stanza from here. I couldn't last alone in the caves. I had to wander the streets of samsara like a mongrel. Please, look at us, those unfortunate. Look at me, see me, look at me, bless me from afar, oh my dear Guru. It's beautiful. So all the verses go like that. Yeah? Thank you so much. I want to thank Venerable Lama Lina, whom I call my Dharma auntie. Since I was young, she's been this ever-present person whom I've known. I associate Pema with few people. Wangdru Rinpoche was the foundation. He was always there. You go to Pema, you know he's going to be there. He's not going to be busy. He's going to be available. Besides that, there are few people whom I associate Guru Rinpoche, this holy place, and Pema with. One of them is Lama Lina. I thank you for giving me this chance to accumulate merit, to introduce me to these beautiful people. I thank Lama Candice, whom I met recently, but whom I've heard a lot of your great activities to teach the teachings you have received from the late Venerable Wangdru Rinpoche, how you're keeping them alive, how you are teaching it to those who are ripe and who are on the path. Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to know you. I would like to thank Veena, who's sitting behind Lama Candice. She has been like a mom. She has supported me whenever I had difficulties. And strangely, whenever I had a difficult moment in my life, she would come to India. She would meet me. And she always supported me. She supported me during my retreats. She supported me during my travels. She supported me with my researches, with my education. And I really thank you. I want to thank Onalaya, whom I've met many years ago, but unfortunately we didn't get to spend much time. And thank you, all of you, for giving me the opportunity to share a few words, the limited knowledge that I have the limited experience that I gathered in the 35 years of my life. I thank you all. Humbly, I prostrate to you, I bow down to you, and I wish you a good stay in Pema. I will be leaving tomorrow. I'll go back to Ladakh. People, they are waiting. They're calling me every day, asking when I'm coming. And we are going to conduct a lot of retreats, a lot of meditations, a lot of chantings, a lot of retreats, a lot of Chokyong practices. 99% would be Vajrayana practices, a lot of Mahamudra, a lot of Dzogchen. So I'm looking forward to my winter retreat. But anytime you come to Pema, if I'm here, anytime you come to Ladakh, you're welcome. Yeah? All of you are welcome. Thank you. Yeah.